the ballers? What's going on? It's Preacher, and I am here to talk about the PTR that I am currently downloading, because patch 5.4 is looking pretty special. This is the patch that's going to prepare us for what's coming next expansion, pretty much. And already, we thought that flexi raiding was the only, maybe biggest feature that was going to come with patch 5.4. Not so, not so. So I'm actually really excited to try all this new stuff out. I'm going to have my work cut out for me coming up. So let's talk about patch 5.4 and the things that are coming out. You guys are already asking me my opinion. It's more than I can fit into a daily. So we're going to go through these and keep people up to date. A lot of people waiting. Those unsubscribers out there, I don't blame you, who are looking to what you're going to enjoy in patch 5.4. So we've already had the flexi rating in there. So cool. I was really looking forward to that anyway, to get to play with you Americans and you Australians and all those guys who play on the other side of the globe that I usually cannot play with. I will have that opportunity come patch 5.4. So we kind of already spoke about that in the dailies. The next one is the Virtual Realms. Virtual Realms, which is going to merge lower population realms while still keeping you on your own realm. Not much details about this so far, but what I imagine this is going to affect the major cities more than anything. So I imagine cities like Orgrimmar, Ironforge, Stormwind, all those kind of places are going to be merged together, because we're getting things like merged auction houses, trade with other players in your realm group. So I'm pretty sure this probably be restricted to the cities and still allowing you to go out into the world in your own way. Now, I'm guessing, although it does say arenas, raids, and dungeons. So how much this is going to merge them, I don't know, because it is keeping you on your current realm. Now, you might be saying, Preacher, why are they not just merging the realms together? Well, some people like low population realms, and it's not fair, really, to shit on them, especially if they've paid money or they've purposely rolled on low pop realms for that very reason. They don't want the hustle and bustle of the big heavy realms. I personally prefer that. So there's definitely the opportunity there for people to go, hey, I paid money. I have paid you, Blizzard, to move to a low pop realm. I don't want you to just instantly up and move my realm over. I don't think it's a very good argument. A low pop realm to me seems strange, but who am I to judge what other people enjoy? On the other side of it, Blizzard still probably wants you to pay to move off a low pop realm. At the end of the day, they still want your money. They're not that stupid. So yeah, they're going to show you what a busy auction house is like, what it's like to have other players around, and then maybe you will actually give them some money if you are feeling stuck on a low pop realm. Some of you always tell me, dude, I'm on a low pop realm. I've got a character I don't want to re-roll. Should I pay? Well, they still want you to pay. They still want you to pay, so that looks like what they're thinking there is, we'll just give them a taste. Yes, it's not fun having no auction house, but some people want a low pop realm, and if you don't want a low pop realm, then maybe you'll still pay to move off there. So a nice little addition in order to make life a little bit more convenient there. As much as people want to be on a low pop realm, perhaps they don't want to not raid or do dungeons, or in fact have nothing on their auction house. There have been rumors of certain realms where there are less than 10 people in the major cities. That's bizarre. The other feature is Proving Grounds. Yeah, Proving Grounds. So the note says, with 4 different difficulty levels for trials: Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Endless. Endless difficulty matches you up against enemies of constantly increasing difficulty. Horde mode? Did we want Horde mode? Will it be fun? It might be. It might be. Kind of depends on what the rewards are, but I like the idea of something outside of raiding you can do with your friends. Again, like challenge mode. Hey, do you fancy doing a horde mode for a bit? People love horde mode. They love it. They love it in various games. I played some horrible games that people have bought just for horde mode. Just to get into there, be co-op with your friends. No stress, not a timed run. We just get in there, do some endless difficulty. I think of games like... tower defense games, things like that with never-ending modes. I love that kind of stuff. I've played them all the way. I've played them all the goddamn time. I've played a lot of them with Genji, and other people on the stream have even released some videos of me doing horde modes on various games. I actually really, really like it. I would actually be quite impressed if they mixed in some sort of maybe tower defense into there. It looks like it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a little bit, and it risks this, of being like Mount Hyjal trash. If anybody remembers doing Mount Hyjal raid trash, If it's like that, that's not going to go well at all. It was the biggest disaster in raiding ever as far as I'm concerned. I have never been in a raid that was more poorly designed than Mount Hyjal, and I've been in some pretty horrific raids. So it has to be dependent. Can Blizzard or WoW even support the idea of a horde mode? They're going to try it out. It depends on the variations and styles. Certain classes are definitely going to be more powerful in there again, similar to the heroic scenarios. Definitely something that's going to be a little bit interesting to see. Will it be Orcs Must Die? Or will it be Mount Hyjal? That's something to bear in mind. I would like the idea of maybe some sort of buildable towers, a currency added in there to make it a little bit more interesting. Otherwise, I fear it will go the way of Mount Hyjal. A couple of other things. There's new pet battle tournaments coming up. Something we've talked about and we might actually run on the channel is a pet battle tournament. We've actually thought that would be a brilliant idea to give away prizes and to get you guys involved. So we're kind of keeping our eye on that a little bit. Interestingly enough, they are buffing even more the chance for loot in the original LFR, the Mogashan Vaults, Heart of Fear, and Terrace of the Endless Spring. They're being buffed more than they already are, which is pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. I would expect that we're almost to the stage where not getting an item is extremely bad luck. Like, not getting an item from those first 3 LFRs is going to be very bad luck indeed, depending on how much they buff it by, which could be another 30%. I think they said they added 30% chance, and we should be up to sort of like 60 or 70% chance of getting an item every time a boss dies now, allowing you essentially to skip over them. I'm never happy about just skipping over content, but LFR isn't much raiding anyway, as we proved recently. And they're obviously going to buff the loot drops in Throne of Thunder to the same as what they are right now in Mogashan Vaults, Heart of Fear, and Terrace of the Endless Spring. So we'll see a sort of transition there, much quicker gearing through Mogashan Vaults and the others, and then moving on to Throne of Thunder, which will be very similar to what you find now in Mogashan Heart of Fear. We can also expect that the coins, the old coins, especially the ones from Throne of Thunder, that you can get with the key for the Palace of Lei Shen, will probably start to apply to the Throne of Thunder as well, so you can get very easy bonus rolls. Very easy bonus rolls in there as well. I would expect to see that coming in pretty soon. On to the class changes. This is what you guys are asking me about. This is going to be interesting. Now, this is not final. It's always worth pointing out these aren't final. I will gladly do some sort of update towards the end of the PTR cycle. I will be playing the classes on the PTR so I can give you some feedback as to what they're doing, but they're definitely switching around a few classes and doing some tweaks here and there. Nothing super major, which is nice. They're still pretty comfortable with how the classes play. So if you're happy with how your class plays, it's probably not going to change too much at all. I actually think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we'll talk about it there. Dancing Rune Weapon is going to be free. This is awesome. Dancing Rune Weapon was always kind of awkward for me, as you need to build up a ton of runic power using runes to then fire off the Dancing Rune Weapon, which could leave you on several occasions with not many runes and not much runic power to actually use the Dancing Rune Weapon. I love this change. I think that's pretty cool. Unholy gets a reduced cooldown, raised dead. Boring. Druid's Innovate now causes attack to gain mana equal to 50% of the casting Druid's Spirit every 10 seconds. Wild Mushrooms, restoration of the ability, now summons a single mushroom at the friendly attack's location. If the mushroom is recast, the mushroom moves to the new location. It retains its accumulated bonus healing. A single mushroom now heals for as much as, what, 3? I like this. It was kind of fiddly dropping 3 mushrooms. Although you could create a spread, the healing wasn't quite as worthwhile if you created a spread compared to the big burst healing of the 3 altogether. I actually really, really like this change. I think that is a cool idea, is just to make mushrooms more usable. Mushrooms were kind of unfriendly. A lot of druids just didn't even bother with wild mushrooms. I don't blame them at all for that. But yeah, they've now done it, just turn it into a single mushroom so it can just do its big bloomy heal, and you can move it and it saves its accumulated healing, just making it much more useful. They have completely redesigned Dream of Cenarius. Completely redesigned it. It's been completely redesigned to reduce complexity and increase utility. I kind of see where they were going with that. A lot of people found it easy. A lot of people found it not so easy to read exactly what the benefits of Dream of Cenarius were. I totally get that. It still maintains the spirit of the effect. So the purpose of Dream Cenarius, which was to give you some sort of off utility for your other aspects, is going to remain, but they're going to simplify it. So for instance, balance, increase the amount healed by healing touch by 20%. Casting healing touch increases the damage bonus of the druid's next eclipse by 10%. This goes on into the other ones, and I don't know. There's always a lot of math around Moonkins. Moonkins are very dedicated, and a lot of people had the idea that casting a Healing Touch in the middle of your actual DPS cycle could potentially be a DPS increase. I'll be interested to see where the math goes with that. It's not nice to have to be casting things like Healing Touch while you're doing DPS because it's a DPS increase. Interesting, and this goes on into the other specs as well, is just a little simplification, all based around Healing Touch for all the specs. I just worry that it turns into a DPS increase to do that. As much as maybe that's what they're aiming for, it's never nice to be casting a heal while you're trying to do mad DPS. You get some mad procs and suddenly, well, I've got to cast my Healing Touch and blah, blah, blah. It's not that fun. It's not that fun at all. I don't really like that. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to work out that way. We're guessing. We're guessing. Nature's Swiftness is no longer a talent and is now an ability learned by Resto Druids at level 30. Okay, so that's becoming baseline. Interesting. And Nature's Vigil, when activated, causes healing spells to now trigger an additional heal on an ally for 25% of the amount healed. This is in addition to the existing effect, where it damages nearby enemy types. So a little buff to Nature's Vigil. They seem a little bit concerned about the top tier spells, the top tier talents. Nice to see them actually doing something with it this late stage in the game. It might be worth doing a fresh guide for all the Druid specs. I'll have to see how this plays out. This is still early days, so we'll see. We'll see. Not much else. Not much else. A little bit of a buff overall. There's some other minor changes, such as mana was apparently a problem for the Balanced Druids. I never really felt that every time I played it, but I never played one at max high level, so we'll see. I'm only picking out the talents that I think are interesting. So like for the Hunters, Arcane Shot had its damage and focus cost increased by 50%. This is a direct response to the fact that Arcane Shot in some cases was barely any different to using your main spells, and a lot of Hunters were getting very, very nice damage from just spamming Arcane Shot. You might say, well, it's buffed its damage and focus, but the fact is losing focus can completely screw you over if you do it incorrectly. And also a lot of Hunters suffering from focus capping when under certain conditions. This is a bit of a counter to that. It's a nice little change. I always worry that the filler spell, if your filler spell is becoming as powerful as your cooldown spells, then you need to be a little bit careful with that. Aspects of the Iron Hawk, all damage taken reduced by 5%. PvP change. Silencing Shot is going to be baseline. Thank God for that. There was no reason. In fact, I did the Should You Roll a Hunter guide recently, and I pointed out specifically in that video, I remember saying that why wouldn't you take Silencing Shots? It's so good. Why would you not change? Why would you not take that? Why would you not take that? And they're putting Binding Shot back in as a talent in its place. Yeah, thank God Silencing Shot is just now in there, because it's just stupid not to carry an interrupt. It's so useful. It's so useful. Nothing for the monks. Visual change to Ring of Peace. Whatever. Some PvP changes for the Pallies. Nothing really interesting for me in terms of the PvE stuff. It was cool that they're trying to get more people to try Ret. Ret has been in a bad place, so they've changed the Glyph of Inquisition to now allow it to auto-refresh, similar to how the Rogues get it with their Slice and Dice and their Recuperate. Glyph of Inquisition now means that every time you kill something, it'll be instantly refreshed. There's nothing fun about leveling and having to recast a shitty buff on yourself. I really like that change. It's so simple. It should have been in the game earlier on. Priests. Trying to get people to use Angelic Feather even more. Never been a fan of Angelic Feather. I always thought it was a pain in the ass. People walk over it by accident, but there increases the movement speed by 80% up from 60%, and the feathers have a duration of 10 minutes now up from 5. Duration was never a big problem for me with Angelic Feather. It's just a shitty spell. It's a cool idea. It's a cool idea, but people just used it at all the wrong times. It was always kind of fun to run back to the boss, dropping feathers in front of yourself all the time. But other than that, I never got much from it, I've got to be honest. I always preferred the speed increase from casting Power Word Shield. I always thought that was miles better. They did buff Divine Insight, so it was a 100% chance, which was pretty cool. Now, Twist of Fate and Healing Threshold to activate has been increased to 35% from 20%. This is to try and stop people just living in the world of what is best and giving people more options. I actually really like Twist of Fate in certain encounters. I tried Twist of Fate on Horadon and got a wonderful damage increase throughout pretty much the entire fight. If you use Twist of Fate correctly, Twist of Fate is increasing your damage overall, 15% increased damage if you have damage on a target that is below 35% health. On a heavy ad fight, Twist of Fate is super powerful. It is super, super powerful. And I got some very nice results from that. And I like the idea that if you're in certain situations, you can change your talents out. It's one of the wonderful things about Priest that I really, really like. But you're going to take more damage. Again, a PvP change. A lot of PvP changes in this one, like Shadow Form no longer reduces all damage taken by 50%. So it sounds like it's just not reducing damage at all anymore. It's not reducing damage at all. It's just like, yeah, being in Shadow Form doesn't reduce your damage whatsoever. Oh, well, thank you very much. For the Rogues, interesting, not nerfs. Not nerfs. I was expecting a little bit of nerf into Assassination, but that hasn't happened. Instead, we've got an increase of Recuperate. Again, a PvP change. Night Stalker now increases damage dealt by abilities while stealth by 50%. A little bit of a damage buff for those of you who are doing your Vanishes and then doing some DPS outside of that. Killing Spree targeting has been changed. If Blade Flurry is not active, Killing Spree will now hit the Rogue's target 7 times or pick the closest eligible target if none has been selected. Killing Spree will continue to work as it has while Blade Flurry is active. Killing Spree has always been a giant pain in the ass. A wonderful idea that you go mental, absolutely crazy, and start shredding people to bits. But God, it's killed so many fucking rogues. And this doesn't look like it's going to change that either. It doesn't look like it's going to change that. Just a slight alteration to its targeting. Shamans. Shamans typically, if we look at Resto, have always been super powerful at the end of the expansion. Will this be the same? Will this be the same? So General Healing Rain Radius has been increased to 12 up from 10. Slight little quality of life fix there. They have increased reduced the cooldown of Astral Shift, which is your big shield wall, which is cool to see. A little bit of savvy there for the Shamans. Unleashed Fury Flamethrower weapon effect now increases Lightning Bolt damage by 30% up from 20. The problem with Unleashed Fury was getting left behind, okay? It was getting left behind a little bit. So it's people were ignoring it. So now they're giving you a better reason to use it. I really like that. I really, really like that. So that's pretty fucking cool. They've also give the idea that enhancement's going to get Storm Strike, also affecting Elemental Blast. Of course, Shamans were, the enhancement Shamans were staying away from Elemental Blast. They're now trying to just give you that choice. I like that. They're saying, well, you know, Enhancement never uses it, so let's give them an opportunity to use it, because it's actually pretty cool. We want people to use it, so let's give them the choice, and maybe now it's going to be competitive. Really like that. Really like that. Interesting enough, Riptide's mana cost was reduced. Healing Shamans haven't been that great yet. It reduced the hit Riptide, especially when it's spammable. They did change the glyph, which reduces the initial direct healing of Riptide by 75%, down from 90%. So they kind of buffed it a lot. We'll see how that plays out. Is that going to be enough to make a Resto Shaman OP, or at least balanced? We'll see. We'll see how that's going to do. Warlocks again, no more damage reduction. Passive, Fell Armor no longer reduces all damage taken. Looking at Warlocks having a significant increase in damage taken. Looking at them OP Warlocks with so many survivability spells as it is. I love that Howl of Terror is now no longer a talent and is now baseline for all Warlocks. Howl of Terror is a ton of fun. And I've been in many situations where I wanted Howl of Terror. I really did, and I couldn't pick it up. Demonic Breath is the replacement. The Warlock sends out a cone of shadow damage, snaring targets as a 20-second cooldown. Not bad. Not bad that we can now do a Cone of Cold. If you want to call it Demonic Breath, you can. But for me, it's Cone of Cold. Yeah, I've seen this spell before. And Kil'jaeden's Cunning is no longer a passive ability. Bastard. Bastard. Fuck you, Bliss. Fuck you. Kil'jaeden's Cunning now has a duration of 15 seconds with a 1.5 minute cooldown. You motherfucker. Kil'jaeden's Cunning, if you're not sure, is the ability to move while casting. No longer passive ability. R.I.P. R.I.P. Kil'jaeden's Cunning. R.I.P. That's really sad. Oh, I'm heartbroken. I am. It was so fucking good. It was too good. Let's face facts. It was too good. That's why it's been changed. But it doesn't change the fact that I am really sad. Really sad. Let's move on to the Warriors, though. Nothing much going on there. Shattering Throw no longer costs rage. At least maybe now somebody will actually fucking use the spell because it's awesome. So many people just forget it. Oh, I'm a tank. I don't use Shattering Throw. You suck. Use your Shattering Throw, goddammit. Use it. Enraged Regen now instantly heals the Warrior for 10% of their total health, up from 5%, and an additional 10% over 5 seconds, up from 5%. Warriors need more healing. I can already hear the tears of the PvPers just flooding down my fucking screen. I can hear the forums in uproar. Vigilance has been changed though. No longer transfers damage to the warrior. The talent now reduces the amount of damage the target takes by 30% for 12 seconds. So a nice little raid cooldown to put on your buddy. Absolutely put it on your buddy. And Slam has been buffed for Arms. Trying to get Arms into the race and be nice and proper. Good. Arms is fun. Arms is fun. Now deals an additional 10% damage to targets affected by Colossus Smash, giving you something to think about as well with Arms. Always nice. Arms was so boring. Oh my god, it was boring, Blizz. At least it gives us something to think about with Arms. Thank the Lord. Fury! Titan's Grip now works with pole arms. God, do I not care. Thank you. I know some people will be like, this is great. Yeah, right. Fucking sucks as far as I'm concerned. There's some other stuff thrown in there for the PvP, but those are the class changes so far. So far, those are the class changes, but we've probably got a long way to go. That's me summing up the 5.4 changes so far. Looking exciting, man. I'll keep you up to date. You take it easy, ballers. I'll see you again.